Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. My name is Julian, and this is the episode of the week where I tell you which guys you should consider cutting from your team in order to make room for guys that probably deserve to be there a little bit more. Before we get started, guys, please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow me on Twitter at Fantasy Tipped, constantly posting there, so be sure to follow me there to get all the best advice. And without further ado, let's jump into the forward drop candidates for the video. And first on the list, I have Chandler Stephenson of the Vegas Golden Knights. Been pretty cold lately, but that's not really the reason I'm dropping him. He's still centering a line with Max Pacioretty and Mark Stone, which is not a bad place to be. So he's not necessarily an immediate drop. He's just someone I'm looking at dropping soon. If you're in a very shallow league, let's say 10 teams or less, Stephenson, you can drop him right now because he's not producing. But he's definitely someone I want to be keeping on my team in deeper leagues because, well, he's centering some pretty solid players. But the thing is, Jack Eichel likely comes back any day now. So when he does, he likely takes that spot between Max Pacioretty and Mark Stone. So Chandler Stephenson will likely be relegated to the third line. The thing is, Vegas can't fit all their contracts under the cap right now, so they're actually going to have to trade someone. If they trade a guy like Riley Smith, it's possible that Chandler Stephenson gets moved to the second line, or maybe even stays on that top line with Stone and Pacioretty, and Eichel plays on that second line. You never know. But it doesn't look super promising for Chandler Stephenson going forward, but you definitely could hold him until you see what Vegas does with their lineup when Eichel gets in. Next, I have Ivan Barbashev of the St. Louis Blues, 50% rostered, and he's had himself a really awesome season. Has 34 points in 44 games so far, which honestly nobody saw coming. But now he's playing on the third line with Brendan Saad and David Perron, which is it's an okay line. But the thing is, he hasn't scored a point in 6 games now, and he was obviously producing way better than he ever had before earlier in the season. So I don't necessarily see him going back to that form he had, and therefore he is a drop for me. And then I have Evan Rodrigues of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Even with Malkin out, Rodrigues is only centering the third line. They're not really giving him those opportunities that he did earlier on, and Malkin's going to be coming back any day now anyway, so Rodrigues is going to be kicked right back off that top power play, and therefore his value is really limited, should not be owned in 48% of leagues. Then I have Sean Couturier, who has undergone surgery and will be out for the rest of the year. So unless you're in a keeper league, he's definitely a super easy drop. Should not be rostered in almost 50% of leagues, that's for sure. Then I have Ryan Getzlaf of the Anaheim Ducks. And even with Adam Henrique back and them putting back that line of Henrique, Getzlaf, and Troy Terry, he has not really been doing that much. Unfortunately, that early season success seems to be a fluke. He is not as good as he once was, unfortunately, and therefore Ryan Getzlaf is a drop in the majority of leagues. Next is my Manscaped must-trim player of the video, Tyson Barrie. Get 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com with the code word FANTASYTIP. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code word FANTASYTIP at manscaped.com. Unlock your confidence, guys, and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped. Now, why is Tyson Barrie my Manscaped must-trim player of the video? Well, it's pretty simple. He's not been good this season, and it hurts me to say this because I was really high on Barrie going into the year. He had an awesome year last year. He led all defense in points, and he was manning that top power play with McDavid and Draisaitl pretty much the entire year, but he's lost that spot now because he's played so bad, and Evan Bouchard has played so well. And even with the coaching change, it seems like he's still going to be only PP2, not power play 1. And therefore his value is incredibly limited. He can be dropped in the majority of leagues. Then I have Jeff Petrie of the Montreal Canadiens, 40% rostered, and this just doesn't seem to be his year. After coming back from injury, I thought, okay, maybe he can, rebound now, look good, and still has not really impressed me. He's getting in the negatives a lot because Montreal is just not a good team, and he's not playing particularly well either. So Jeff Petrie, not someone I love to hold on to right now. Then I have Damon Severson of the New Jersey Devils, 29% rostered, and the thing is with Severson, I've been really high on him, but the Devils only do play 1 game this week. And after this week, it's likely that Dougie Hamilton does return. So if you need to drop Severson to make room in your lineup for someone who actually plays a lot of games this week, it's probably worth doing so. Because yeah, I mean, you could hold on to him for that Tuesday game and then swap him, but it's definitely not worth holding him the entire week. And I have Matt Grzelcyk of the Boston Bruins, 27% rostered, and he was getting a little bit of power play time earlier in the season when McAvoy was injured and such, but McAvoy's the guy on that top power play again. and Grzelcyk does not have a lot of value because of that. And last but not least for defense, I have Mike Matheson, 14% rostered, and he was added in a lot of leagues. Was never someone I suggested adding because, I mean, I like Mike Matheson as a player. He's from Montreal, where I'm from, but he was someone who was getting lucky with offense. He's not someone who's going to provide you consistent offense, and that's why I did not suggest picking him up, and that's why he's a drop. Next is Jordan Binnington of the St. Louis Blues, 75% rostered. In his last 3 games, he's let in 6 goals, 7 goals, and 5 goals, respectively, which is really, really bad. He's trying to make a bid to become the starting goalie in St. Louis again, but it's not going so well for Jordan Binnington. If you're in a league that there's like no other starting goalies available, like a really, really deep league where there's no goalies available, you kind of have to hold on to Binnington, cross your fingers, and hope for the best. But right now, it's not looking so good, and in shallower leagues where there's other goalies available, he's a very easy drop right now. Then I have Pavel Francouz of the Colorado Avalanche, 49% rostered, and it's the same kind of thing. In deeper leagues where there's no other goalies available, he's someone that I'm holding on to, but in shallower leagues, he's a drop because it looks like Kemper's getting the majority of the starts again in Colorado, which is a little bit unfortunate for Francouz owners because it was looking like it was going to be a 50-50 split, but right now it's not looking like that. So in shallower leagues, he's a drop. Then I have Jake Allen of the Montreal Canadiens, 22% rostered, and he's not expected to come back until at least mid-March, so if you have room on your IR, I guess you can hold on to him, but he's definitely not a must hold on, that's for sure. Then I have Tuukka Rask of the Boston Bruins, 12% rostered, and he just retired, guys, so he's a must drop in every single league, should not be even 1% owned. Then I have Dan Vlader of the Calgary Flames, 10% rostered, and Jacob Markstrom's been starting back-to-back games lately. Even though Vlader had a really great start to the season, I don't know why they're not playing him anymore, but Markstrom has been phenomenal, and therefore Vlader is not someone to own in any single league because Markstrom's even getting the back-to-back starts. So yeah, Vlader is not someone I like to own right now in any league. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. Please leave a like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. I hope you guys enjoyed the content today, and I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tip.